what I like best about the Terry and Jesse show is that it revives my hope in men to be godly men.
It's a really good show because it's relatable to family life, daily life. It's encouraging. It's like cheerleading also for Catholics. But number one, the reason I like it because you guys aren't afraid to speak the truth.
You are both the most compassionate hosts I've ever heard. And as a Jewish convert, I am a much better informed Catholic. Thank you, Terry and Jesse.
I just think it's the best thing that we have here in L.A. It's awesome. I'm hooked.
This is the Terry and Jesse Show. We invite you to this holy hour of power. TJ, Truth and Justice, Amen. Totally Jesus. This is Blue Collar Catholic Radio. We want to take a look at the presidential candidates and their position on abortion, since everybody's talking about it right now. It's on NBC, it's on ABC, it's on Fox News, it's on CNN. Everybody's talking about the presidential candidate's position on abortion. Now, as Catholics, you know our position on abortion. We consider it a violation of the fifth commandment, thou shalt not kill. We also have seen abortion as being intrinsically evil since the first century. A document called the Didache, written at the time of the Gospels, has said that abortion is evil at the time of the apostles. This is the constant teaching of the church. Now, we don't have any Catholics that are running for president at this point, just so you know. We have Hillary Clinton, who says she's a Methodist or a Protestant of some sort. Donald Trump says he's a Presbyterian, and Ted Cruz says he's an evangelical. And Kasich, I think he's flip-flopped from Protestantism to Catholicism. I don't think he's a Catholic anymore from some of the things I've heard him say. So let's take a look at some of the articles we want to talk about. Number one, Democratic presidential frontrunner Hillary Clinton, she said a few nights ago on CNN, they asked her about the issue of abortion. She said the 2016 election is about whether abortion is legal and whether women make our own health choices. She also said that as a U.S. senator, she voted against the partial birth abortion ban. Let's take a look at another article here. Hillary Clinton on abortion. She was interviewed on NBC Meet the Press this past Sunday, and she said that the unborn persons don't have constitutional rights. Presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, she made her radical abortion views very clear on Sunday night at Meet the Press. She said, I'll quote her, she said, quote, "The unborn person doesn't have constitutional rights," close quote. And Clinton said, adding that, quote, "the woman's right to make a decision is the be-all and the end-all when it comes to abortion." Here's something interesting. I think Hillary Clinton, she had a Freudian slip, because she called the person in the mother's womb an unborn person. That's usually not the language of a pro-abortion person. They usually just call it a fetus. Another article we could talk about, Cecil Richards, the head of Planned Parenthood, she's talked about how important it is for abortion backers to put Hillary in the White House. Cecil Richards, the president of Planned Parenthood, says that Hillary Clinton, he said, she's everything we've ever fought for. Let's go to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah,
Terry, let's go to
Bernie Sanders says he agrees with Hillary Clinton. And again, before I begin this, we're giving you the facts. We can't tell you who to vote for. We can tell you how Catholic principles are applied in voting, but we're not going to tell you who to vote for, but we want to just give you the facts. So Bernie Sanders agrees with Hillary Clinton. No constitutional rights for unborn children. What about Donald Trump? What does he say? Well, he says, don't change abortion laws. The laws are set. We have to leave it that way. What about another one, Ted Cruz? We're giving you everybody because you have to be a highly informed Catholic. And that's what the Terry and Jesse show is going to give you. We're going to go right through all the candidates because you know what? It's important to have the facts. Ted Cruz on abortion. Unborn children have a constitutional right to life. Okay? What about Ted Cruz on the abortion in cases of rape? What does he say? Punish the rapist, don't kill the baby. Now, I want to mention something to you folks. I know someone who's very happy that we're bringing this up, and I know some people who aren't very happy. The ones that are really happy that we've taken the time to talk about the issues for the election are the unborn babies, okay? They're glad we're not talking about Dodgers opening winning game of 15-0 against another team, San Diego. Who cares? I'm sorry. what's most important in my priority is life, and I think it should be on yours too. So here's my question to everybody. Do you think it's important to have the facts about the candidates on this issue of pro-life so that they can understand, so you can make decisions based on that? Or do you think that that's just one of many issues? I mean, I can tell you my thought, but call us at 888-526-2151. That's 888-526-2151. I'm going to mention one more thing. One of our listeners called me and said, I decided to send Dr. Bernard Nathanson's CD to one of the election, well, I'll say who it is. It's Donald Trump. She sent this CD overnight on her own money and said, Donald Trump, listen to this. Dr. Nathanson had performed over 75,000 abortions, and now he's pro-life. Also, on that CD, you get a excerpt from Bishop Sheen, There's Life in the Womb. I'm giving that CD away because I want you to give them away, not to just Donald Trump and all the rest of these guys, to have people in America. Plus, I'm giving away After the Choice, 17 women shocked the world about their testimonies after they've had abortions. Jesse, I'm going to ask you a question. I said there's a group that are really happy that we're taking the time to defend life. Who isn't very happy that we're talking about this?
Satan's not happy at all, because Satan's the father of lies, and Satan's a murderer and a liar from the very beginning, according to John 8:44. Satan's behind the abortion industry. So here's the question. I just want to I want to add my own question as well to the audience. Call us up at 888-526-2151. Here's the question. Do you believe Catholics should be or can be single issues voters, or they should not be? Do you think all the issues weigh the same? Immigration reform, education reform, Social Security, and no child left behind, and jobs for everybody, and free college tuition. Do you believe that all those issues are equal to abortion? So the question is this: as a Catholic, do you believe Catholics can be and should be single issue voters? In other words, do you believe a person's position on abortion can disqualify that person from the Catholic vote? I'm not going to tell you. I've got my own opinions, obviously, and I'm going to exercise them at the ballot box. But we want to hear from you. 888-526-2151. 888-526-2151.
I also want to give you some good news. Florida became the 12th state to defund Planned Parenthood. That's good news from where I'm coming from. Folks, here's some good news across the pond. In Poland, the prime minister wants to a total ban on abortion without exception. What? I haven't heard that, but I want to ask one more question. It seems to me, and this is just me speaking, but a woman who's pregnant is driving along the road and a drunk hits her car and kills her and her unborn baby. There's 2 homicides. And what I'm wanting to understand is that means there were 2 lives that were snuffed out in that case. But when they have an abortion, then they don't practice that. They say, oh, no, that's just one life. But, a former president of the United States, his name was Ronald Reagan, in the 1984 presidential election debate, cited California law, which is saying this. It says, isn't it strange, and I think he's right, isn't it strange that the same woman could have taken the life of her unborn child and it was abortion, not murder. But if somebody else does it, that's murder. Do you see? We don't have common sense here. What we're doing is we're saying, oh, if it's wanted. See, I think that we have objective truth. It either is a baby or it isn't. Give me a call at 888-526-2151. Don't hesitate to get involved with this, because I'm going to tell you, I said it yesterday, what Pope St. Felix III said, not to oppose error is to approve it, not to defend truth is to suppress it, and indeed to neglect to confound evil men when we can do it is no less a sin than to encourage them. I'm not saying it's not a sin. I'm saying get involved with this process. I want you to take these DVDs and CDs and hand them to friends. Try and influence people for the unborn child by calling 877-526-2151. You can get Dr. Bernard Nathanson's Aborting America and After the Choice DVD of 17 women who've had abortions. Amazing topic for us today to defend life.
Since everybody's talking about Donald Trump, I want to stay current with the news. Here's what the article says from Life News on Donald Trump. He basically says, Donald Trump has commented on the issue of abortion again with a statement that is sure to upset pro-life voters further after repeatedly applauding the Planned Parenthood abortion business. In new remarks last Friday, Trump said the nation's abortion laws, which allow virtually unlimited abortions and have resulted in the destruction of 58 million unborn children, should not be changed. Here's more from CBS News. A few days after Trump said women should be prosecuted, he has changed his tune. Trump said, quote, "The laws are set now on abortion, and that's the way they're going to remain until they've changed." He says, "I would have preferred states' rights. I think it would have been better if it were up to the states. But right now the laws are set. At this moment, the laws are set, and I think we have to leave it that way." Let me add my comment. It seems like if Donald Trump has walked back his comment about women should be punished, and so now what he's doing, I think what he's trying to do, he's trying to cast a wider net, and he's trying to appeal to pro-aborts, pro-choicers by some of these comments. But he did say this in his, not in his defense, but just to be objective.
No, facts.
Yeah, here's the facts, because I'm not telling you one way or another what I think about him. But he said his Hope Hicks released a statement on Friday, and this is Trump's campaign manager. I'll quote it to you right after. It's about 3 sentences. You're listening to the Terry and Jesse Show. TJ stands for Totally Justice. It also stands for Truth and Justice. Terry and Jesse, call us at 888-526-2151 if you want to discuss what you believe. Can we be single-issue voters, yes or no? This is the Terry and Jesse Show. Totally Jesus, Truth and Justice. We're looking at all the candidates that are left right now running for president. There's no Catholics that are left, by the way, okay? So if somebody wants the perfect candidate, once again, like I told you, Jesus and Mary are not running for president and vice president, so we're never going to get a perfect candidate. But we got to look at who is going to do less harm to our cause, who's going to move the football forward. I just want to mention that Trump's campaign manager, they put out a press release trying to clarify Trump's statements. I think they're just trying to do some damage control.
Exactly.
But here's what Hope Hicks said. It's very short. Quote, "Mr. Trump gave an accurate account of the law as it is today and made it clear it must stay that way now until he is president. Then he will change the law through his judicial appointments and allow the states to protect the unborn. There is nothing new or different here." Close quote. That's a positive statement, because look, notice what he's saying. For those of us that are pro-lifers, he's saying that he's going to change the law through judicial appointments. So I like at least the fact that he said that. You could say he'd throw a bone at us, and he said he's going to allow the states to protect the unborn. And he basically said this because earlier during the week, again, his manager said that he misspoke after an interview with Chris Matthews from MSNBC, after he said that women should be punished for having abortions if abortions are someday banned again. All right, let's go to the phone lines. We've got Lisa calling from L.A. Go ahead, Lisa.
Hi there.
Hi, Lisa.
I haven't decided who I'm going to vote for yet, but I don't think you should be looking at only one issue. I think you should look at the big picture, and to be honest, even if the winner is pro-choice, it doesn't mean that everyone has to have an abortion. I mean, even though the law says you can, I've never had an abortion. Every time I've been pregnant, I've had a child.
Sure.
So that's not really the biggest issue to me, because I believe abortion is wrong, but even if it's legal, you're not coerced to do it.
Well, let's have a conversation, Lisa, with that. Jesse, you go first, and then Lisa, I'll go after you guys. Go ahead.
Lisa, I'm not a single issue voter. I agree with you. What I am, I'm a disqualifying issue voter. So I'm not a single issue voter. I'm a disqualifying issue voter. In other words, there's certain positions on certain issues that disqualify the person from getting my vote as a Catholic. For example, if somebody would say, you know what, I'm a racist, I hate all blacks and Mexicans, I don't care if this person was perfect on everything else. This guy could be the political messiah when it comes to education and foreign policy and the economy. I don't care. But if he says, oh, except P.S., but I hate blacks and Hispanics, then that would disqualify him. So I'm not a single issue voter, but I'm a disqualifying issue voter, which means that there are certain positions and certain issues that will disqualify you from getting my vote. And one of them is the issue of abortion. I'll tell you why. Because if somebody is wrong on that micro issue, and it's a micro issue because it's a decision that people make on a personal level. But if somebody's wrong on a micro issue, then I don't trust them on the macro issue. Who said that? Jesus basically says that in the Gospel of Luke. He says that if somebody can't be be responsible for the little things, they can't be responsible for larger things. So if somebody's wrong on micro issues, then they're probably going to be wrong on macro issues. That's my take.
Lisa, before I speak, I want to have you respond to Jesse. God bless you for calling too. Go ahead, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Go ahead, Lisa. You girls first. Lisa, are you there? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still there. Interesting. It is a micro issue because I've just kind of not made that the most important thing because I still have the freedom to choose to go ahead and have these children rather than do something that I think would be horrible.
Yeah.
So I haven't really thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Although because it's not coercive, I'm not going to consider that a disqualifying issue. I would consider the racist thing a disqualifying issue, though.
Okay.
I mean, it's an issue, but it's not the only one, and I still haven't decided who I want to vote for, though.
Yeah, Lisa, can I throw one more thing in? I actually haven't thrown anything in yet, so I guess I can. Lisa, one more thought, and that is social justice begins in the womb. So what I'm saying, Lisa, is if we can't give the right for an unborn baby to have its life, then all the other issues, whether it's education, housing, those are all mute issues because they never got out of the womb safely. So I just wanted to throw that into the mix. And Lisa, I'm so glad you called because this is a dialogue. Give us your thoughts on my thought about social justice beginning in the womb. Would you agree or disagree on that?
I would agree. That's absolutely part of it. It begins in the womb, but it doesn't end there either.
Nope. Okay.
My big deal is immigration. I'm saying don't deport my family because I have some relatives who live in that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's continue the dialogue because we got time. Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, Lisa. Let me just mention. Here's the quote that I wanted to share from our Lord Jesus Christ about holding fast to the micro issues. He says in Luke 16:10, he says, "He who is faithful in a very little is faithful also in much, and he who is dishonest in a very little is dishonest also in much." In other words, as you read this, God, and he also says the same thing in Luke 19:17. He says, "Well done, good servant, because you've been faithful in a very little, you shall have authority over 10 cities." So what we see here is Jesus is basically saying, if you're wrong on the micro issues, then you can't be trusted on the macro issues. But if you're right on the micro issues, you can be trusted on the macro issues, because if you're wrong on the micro issues, like abortion, you've already demonstrated an inability to think as a Christian, and your moral compass is broken. In other words, there's a thinking error and a wrong-headedness on the micro issues, and that's going to be carried over with you in your macro decisions. That's my take as a voter.
Lisa, we've got Go ahead. One more final thought, because I got a whole list of people waiting in line to come on the air. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, you're right. But there are a lot of micro issues, and there is not a single candidate who's correct on all the micro issues. So I'm really impressed by the whole process. So thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in, Lisa, and I hope you continue to listen to Immaculate Heart Radio. God bless you. Before we go to Camille, thank you. I just want to remind everybody we're giving away Dr. Bernard Nathanson's CD, Aborting America, the story of an ex-abortionist, ex-atheist. This man performed over 75,000 abortions, and he's going to tell it like it is there. And boy, it's an amazing story. Plus, I'm giving away a DVD, 17 Women Shocked the World. Their testimonies, you won't believe it when you hear it. They were all had abortions, and they're all pro-life now. Call 877-526-2151. Let's go to Camille in California. Welcome to the Terry and Jesse Show.
Hi, Terry. Hi, Jesse.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As far as being a one-issue voter, that would be me. I am 100% pro-life. I believe that life begins at conception and ends at a natural death. And I believe that if a candidate is pro-life, most likely they are going to view other issues that I find important. They're going to be most likely have the same concerns that I do, and that is to respect life.
Well, I want to thank you for your thoughts. You're very, very clear on where you stand. Thank you. Jesse, your thoughts?
I just want to back her up by quoting St. John Paul II. I think this will help shore up your arguments and your conviction. St. John Paul II said in a document called Christi Fidelis Laici, paragraph 38. He said what you said, but he said it more theologically. He said this, quote, "The common outcry which is justly made on behalf of human rights, for example, the right to health, the right to home, to work, to family, to culture, is false and illusory if the right to life is not defended with maximum determination," close quote. So what did the Pope basically say? He said all issues don't equal the issue of abortion. All the issues, he says, are false and illusory if we don't get this issue right, and that's the right to life. You know, Father Pavone says about this issue about abortion, he says, the entire Catholic Church is under obedience to this divine command to stop the killing. We can hardly be credible in proclaiming the destiny of the human person, to be on the throne with Jesus Christ, if we ignore those persons thrown in the garbage every day.
Camilla, I want to also give you one more quote to back you up from St. John Paul II the Great. He says, America needs lay Christians able to assume roles of leadership in society. It is urgent to train men and women who, in keeping with their vocation, can influence public life and direct it to the common good. This was done in 1999, paragraph 44, his visit to America. So I want to commend you for what you're implementing with Pope John Paul II. So I just want to say thanks for listening and keep up the good work. God bless you, and keep listening to Immaculate Heart Radio. Thank you, Camille.
I will, and thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Before we go to Mary Ellen, we're going to have a quick break. We got so many people wanting to get on. Don't forget, we're giving you tools to help the pro-life cause. Can you imagine if you help save a life of a baby 50 years from now, 100 years from now, and you meet that baby in heaven? Whoa, that can happen. I've seen it happen in my own life. So if you want to get the video called 17 Women Shocked the World After the Choice, you're welcome to get this 1-hour video that actually communicates women that have had abortions and they repented of it. And again, if you've had an abortion, we have the sacrament of confession. This is the year of mercy. I would encourage any women and men who have been involved with participating in abortion, go to confession. He's there waiting for you. God never tires of forgiving people. If you want to get the DVD and the CD, call 877-526-2151. That's 877-526-2151. If you want to get in line, the lines are all lit up, but try and call 888-526-2151, and we'll try and do our best to get as many calls as possible in. That's 888-526-2151. We're going to come right back after this short break, and wow, we've got Mary Ellen. She's got some good things to say. We'll be right back.
We're back. This is the Terry and Jesse Show. We are your spiritual fitness trainers. This is the Lord's gym. His pain is your gain. We're talking about all the candidates' positions on the issue of abortion. We call it a micro issue, but that micro issue, again, if you're wrong on the micro issues, if you can't think clearly, if your moral compass is broken on the micro issues, then you can't be trusted on the macro issues. I'm a retired cop, so this is the police side of me speaking here before I go to Mary Ellen, okay? Because, it's like if I have to sometimes, I'm thinking sometimes like an apologist. I'm a Catholic apologist. I got a master's degree from Steubenville, but I'm also a L.A. deputy sheriff. And so I have the police justice mentality. Here's my take on abortion. Abortion, or the root of all our problems in the United States, the root of all our problems, the root of our cultural rot and decay, The root of our responsibility, our economic problems, the violence in our streets, why 10-year-olds are shooting each other, and why our society is liberal and permissive. You know, it's pretty obvious to me. Abortion is the foundation of all our moral problems. That's my take. Why? Because how can we eliminate 58 million of our children and not be damaged by it psychologically and emotionally as a country?
Well said.
And just even on an economic level, if all you care about is your wallet,
where's your customers?
We need those 58 million people contributing to our society to pay taxes and more. And what have we done? I believe that abortion is the root of America's problems. Life has become cheap. Life has become disposable. And that's why this Pope has, he's actually given it a name, the culture. He's called it a disposable culture. Let's go to Mary Ellen from Van Nuys. Go ahead, Mary Ellen.
Hi, Jesse and Terry.
Hi,
I want to compare abortion, which is even worse than the institution of slavery. We had an unjust law before the Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation, and the amendment. We had to get a federal amendment to outlaw the institution of slavery, where African Americans were considered property. They were not human beings. We have and that was the Dred Scott decision that was passed by our Supreme Court.
You're correct.
So just because it's a federal law does not mean it's a moral or just law. We have a worse federal law called Roe versus Wade, where we are murdering unborn children in the womb. If we cannot protect every American in this land, we are not who we claim to be, home of the free and land of the brave. No. And Abraham Lincoln said the Civil War was sin. It was punishment for sin, the sin of slavery in this country, by treating human beings like they were property. Well, we're doing the exact same thing. It's a big lie, calling these children in the womb tissue. In fact, we need to ask Hillary Clinton, how is the tissue that's growing in your daughter Chelsea's belly? And when does that tissue become a human being? This is the question we need to ask our political candidates.
Wow.
And that's all I have to say.
Hey, Mary Ellen, I just have one point to make with you about Abraham Lincoln. His words were, "We have offended divine providence."
Amen.
And I would say that that's true again. We have offended divine providence with the killing of unborn babies. Mary Ellen, we love having you call in. I told everybody you'd speak your truth in charity, and you just did that. Thanks so much, Mary Ellen.
Thank you. God bless you
bless
all
you.
for this program. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
All right, Mary Ellen. And before we go to our calls, I just want to remind everybody we're getting out some pro-life literature. After the Choice, 17 Women Shocked the World. It's a DVD. Show it to young people. Show it to old people. That should convince them. Also, Aborting America. Dr. Bernard Nathanson, ex-abortionist, provided over 75,000 abortions. Get his story, his conversion. He was an atheist. Now he's passed away, but he became a Catholic. Great story. Call 877-526-2151. Erica in Alhambra, welcome to the Terry and Jesse Show.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm glad. I'm glad you called. What can we do for you?
You know, in regards to when you're voting for somebody
yes.
and you're thinking of the rights of all human beings, you know, you said that it starts in the womb, and I completely agree with that.
Okay.
So how I have viewed it as human rights are a primary class, and then you have subclasses, which then goes to gender, you know, male and female, which then goes to further subclasses of, you know, women's rights, even black rights or equal rights. And viewing it that way, it almost makes it impossible for a subclass to try to destroy another subclass, or for the fact of human rights, it would make it impossible for a subclass such as women's rights to be superior to human rights, which is the overall class of humans.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Jess.
I'm not sure about all those subclasses. I have more of a biblical worldview. I don't have a secular worldview. And the biblical worldview is this. There's good people and bad people. There's decent people and indecent people. That's pretty much it. And anybody who is pro-life, I believe, is on the right side of the argument and on the right side of the fence with God. And I believe that anybody who is against a baby being born and given constitutional rights at birth, I believe they're on the wrong side of the fence. And I believe it is an anti-God, anti-gospel position. Many people do it through no fault of their own. They do it through human ignorance. But I also want to say we are compassionate as Catholics. I want to mention for anybody out there, Terry and me, we're not judging anybody. We're just talking about the issue if it's intrinsically evil, which it is. But if anybody's had an abortion, as Catholics, we reach out to you. There's a place called Rachel's Vineyard. It's basically therapy. It's Catholic therapy for somebody who's gone through an abortion. We want to help you. Rachel's Vineyard, if you go to rachelsvineyard.org, that's where you're going to experience God's loving compassion in a very profound way if you've ever gone through an abortion. These are weekend retreats. They're non-judgmental. They offer you a supportive, prayerful, confidential environment. It's for men and women. And it's to help people reconcile that painful post-abortive emotion and begin the healing process to renew yourself in Jesus Christ again. So once again, Terry and me, we want to mention rachelsvineyard.org. For anybody out there that's ever gone through an abortion, we want you to come back and know that you can be forgiven and experience the love of Jesus once again.
What I got from Erica also is that if a species was killing off its newborn babies, we would probably look at that and say there's something wrong with the bears. They're killing their babies. But in America, here, human beings are killing off their offspring. We're saying that's perfectly okay. See, that's why I say a common sense says there's something wrong here. You don't have to be a PhD to know that that's just not right. And that's why we're standing up for the unborn right now. And we've got so many people calling in. Let's go right over to Jenny in Southern California. Jenny, you're up next. What's your thoughts? Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for taking my call. And I wanted to say I'm a devout Catholic.
Good.
I love your show. I listen to it all the time. I am in complete agreement with you about pretty much everything. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-teachings of the Catholic Church. And you're not going to like what I'm going to say.
That's okay, Jenny. Hit me. I can
you're
take it.
You're not going to like what I'm going to say, so I'm going to say prepare you. But my plan, I'm in Southern California, but my plan is to vote for Donald Trump.
Okay.
Now, let me just say that I don't like any of the candidates. There's no way I would vote for Hillary or Bernie.
Sure.
I did not like Marco Rubio. I was not planning to vote for him, and I don't feel I can vote for Ted Cruz. So let me make a point of saying I don't like any of them. I'm not a fan. But I am planning to vote for Donald Trump, and let me tell you why. He's saying some gaffes and that kind of a thing. The Pope says gaffes all the time, and then, they sort of manipulate, the media manipulates. But the two issues for me that are really important, one is borders. We can't have a country that's running, especially California, without strong borders, and there's just too much crime, too much rape. Chandra Levy being the woman several years ago where there was all that controversy about who killed her. They thought it was the congressman that was having an affair with her, and it was an illegal person from El Salvador. I absolutely believe we have to protect our borders. And to be honest with you, again, I don't think you're going to like what I'm saying, but the fact that people are entering this country illegally, taking welfare, taking food stamps, and that's supported by some people within the Catholic Church, I think it's a mortal sin because I think they're breaking the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not steal. They didn't have a right to come in and do this. So I'm very strong about borders, and the other piece of it is I'm very strong about not fiddling around and not doing any more damage than we've already done in the Middle East. That it's a mess over there with Syria and Libya and Egypt, and I think we've done terrible damage over there and helping to support to destabilize those countries, which has now contributed to all the death of Christians and the persecution over there. And I feel like Ted Cruz is just too hawkish for me. He's talking about we have to bomb ISIS back to the Stone Age. I think he'll bomb Iran if he gets in, so I can't vote for him.
Jenny, I'd let you keep going, but we're out of time. But I think you're going to be shocked. I really, first of all, I'm going to say, why don't you really tell me what you think? But I'm not going to tell you all of my thoughts on the air because I can't say exactly because we are a nonprofit and we can't. But I can just tell you right now, you're reading me wrong if you get my message. I think a lot of things you've said sounds commonsensical to me. That's all I can say on that. But Jenny, I'll let Jesse respond to you.
Yeah, the only thing I want to mention about the immigration issue, and I agree with what you had to say. I think there's two main categories in the immigration debate. There's legal immigrants and illegal immigrants. There's those that believe in the rule of law, and there's lawbreakers. And I believe the government has a moral and legal obligation to protect the due process of the people who immigrate here legally. And on the flip side, they have the right to prevent immigration from those who cross our borders illegally. You got no argument from me. This is not an anti-immigration position. In fact, it's a very pro-immigration position.
And
we'll be right back.
Catechism even talked on that. We'll be right back. That's right. Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. We are too blessed to be stressed, too anointed to be disappointed. And if hope was money, Jesse and I would be millionaires, or billionaires, I should say. Today's topic, wow, the lines are all lit up. I just want to review, because we're talking about what everybody's talking about right now, about the election. And Hillary Clinton says this 2016 election is all about keeping abortion legal. She also said this week, unborn persons don't have constitutional rights. And then Cecil Richards, the president of Planned Parenthood, she says, Clinton is everything we fought for. Bernie Sanders agrees with Hillary Clinton. No constitutional rights for unborn children. Donald Trump says, don't change abortion laws. The laws are set. We have to leave it that way. Ted Cruz on abortion. Unborn children have a constitutional right to life. Ted Cruz says, abortion in cases of rape, punish the rapist. Don't kill the baby. You notice what I'm doing? I'm giving you the facts on what these people are teaching and what they believe, because we have to vote for one of these guys. And I'll give you some good news real quick if you didn't hear. Florida became the 12th state to defund Planned Parenthood. And you want to hear some real good news, everybody? Poland's prime minister wants to total ban on abortion with no exceptions. I'm for that. Let's, again, if you have a question or a comment, you want to call us, our number is 888-526-2151. If you want to get those CDs and DVDs that we're giving out on Dr. Bernard Nathanson, Aborting America, the story of an ex-abortionist, an ex-atheist, you can get that by calling 877-526-2151, and also a video of 17 women that shocked the world saying they regret having that abortion. Call 877-526-2151. Gabrielle in California, you've been very patient, young lady. Welcome to the Terry and Jesse Show.
Hi, thank you.
God love you. What's on your mind? Yes, go ahead.
I just had a quick comment. I just think society in general blinds themselves to things they don't want to see, things that make them uncomfortable, or certain things that they don't want to really speak truth on. Okay. For example, when a celebrity like the Kardashian girl, or even the Kate Middleton, the princess in Europe, when they announce their pregnancy, they don't say, oh, I'm pregnant with a zygote or a ball of cell tissue. They say, I have a baby. I'm having a baby. Sure. And I think society picks and chooses what they want to know the truth on. I mean, I think sometimes for some people, it's easier for them to turn away from the truth because of whatever reason. But that's all it is. They want to blind themselves to the truth to make it an exception for their life. And it's really upsetting sometimes. And I just wanted to say that, and also I just wanted to tell you guys thank you for everything you do. Whenever my husband and I are driving and we listen to your show, you always leave us with something so powerful that in the evening when we do our prayer time as a family, we always share a story you shared on the air.
Well, thank you, Gabrielle.
It's very kind of you.
I agree with what you're saying. There's kind of this eugenics mentality in our society as a result of abortion and Planned Parenthood. In other words, just like you said, when a young, rich, wealthy person goes to a doctor's office and they're pregnant, they're all over the news, they're all over the magazines and the checkout stands. But when the Hispanic or the Asian mother who's had 5 cesarean sections and her belly hangs over her waist is going in with baby number 6 or baby number 7, the doctor right away is saying, you should consider getting your tubes tied. You should consider an abortion. In other words, I'll just be honest. If you're ugly and if you don't look like somebody who's about to walk the red carpet down Hollywood, they pressure you to have an abortion. They pressure you to go ahead and basically to tie your tubes. But if you're rich and famous and young and popular, you're all over the magazines, and they're not calling that a tissue in your stomach. They're calling it a baby. You're right, Gabriela. There's a double standard in our society. The rich and famous, they're treated with a different measuring rod.
And Gabriela, thank you for your call, and keep listening to Immaculate Heart Radio, and may God richly bless you and your family.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye now. We've got Jack on line 3. Okay, Jack just lost. What I wanted to mention is, how do we overcome a culture that's a culture of death? The way we do it is with the truth and charity. I just want to remind those who didn't hear what Saint Pope Felix III said back in 475. He said, "Not to oppose error is to approve it, not to defend truth is to suppress it, and indeed to neglect to confound evil men when we can do it is no less a sin than to encourage them." That's what we're trying to do right now. We want to inform people with the facts about an election so you can make your decision freely, because the only value in saying yes to God is you have the freedom to say no. So we're not going to tell you who to vote for, but we're giving you these principles that help you form a Catholic viewpoint so that we have a Christ-like voting record. And because I'm going to tell you, certain people, and I'll say it right now, Jesse, it's politically incorrect, are going to vote with their pocketbook. Because I get a free phone, or I get free food, or I get this, I'm going to vote for that, and forget about the unborn child. I'm sorry, I'm here to tell you, don't do that. Vote with a Catholic mindset. I'll leave you with that, Jess.
As Catholics, there's three. This is the way you form your conscience to vote. Think about the 3 M's. 3 M's. Morality comes first. You look at the candidate's position on morality. Number 2, money comes second. The economy and other things related to the economy. Number 3, military. So this is the way you form your conscience as a Catholic. Morality comes first, money comes second, military comes third. Now today, I believe that slavery or should I say abortion is worse than slavery, as another caller just said a while back ago. I agree. I don't know if you realize that in America today, almost as many black American children are aborted as are born. A black baby is 3 times more likely to be murdered in the womb than a white baby. Okay? Since 1973, abortion has reduced the black population by over 25%.
Wow.
Is this microphone on?
Wow.
Should I say that again? Is this microphone on? Twice as many black Americans have died from abortion than have died from AIDS, accidents, violent crimes, cancer, and heart disease combined. Every 3 days, more black Americans are killed by abortion than have been killed by the Ku Klux Klan in its entire history. And guess what? Here's a dirty little secret. Planned Parenthood operates the nation's largest chain of abortion clinics, and almost 80% of its facilities are located in minority neighborhoods. About 13% of Americans are black. About 7% are black women. But yet, the 7% of black women in this country, they have over 35% of the abortions. Is there something wrong with this? Do you see somebody being targeted? I do. And guess what? Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, they are we could say, tied at the hip with Planned Parenthood, and Hillary Clinton has received no less than $20 million by Planned Parenthood to continue funding her campaign.
Jesse, you just gave the facts, okay? And that's all we're giving everybody. The facts are what we just said. You have to decide whether these facts are going to make you decide to vote one way or another, because you have to have an informed vote. We only have a couple minutes left. We have several more people on hold, but we want to go to Ruben next, because he's been on waiting for a long time. But before I go to Ruben, I just want to mention you can get the After the Choice video. I want you to become proactive, because, when good people do nothing, that's when evil goes on. So let's get the DVD. It's a $20 DVD. It's free. After the Choice. 17 women shocked the world. Also, Dr. Bernard Nathanson his CD, Aborting America. You got to get that, too. Call 877-526-2151. Ruben in San Fernando, welcome to the Terry and Jesse Show.
Hey, how you doing, Terry?
We're blessed, Ruben. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to comment.
Sure.
I'm not actually doing any of the voting because I haven't found a Catholic candidate. We don't have any Catholic candidate in this country running for president. And even so, I would not even put my life on a candidate because that's why I left the political issues and went to the church issues, because I only found that the Catholic Church is the only institution in the world that really cares for human beings. I believe that anything that with politics and government, which is my personal belief, is that it's already pre-planned. It's already pre-planned. They have an agenda of their own. It's really basically something that's contrary to what is God's agenda. Man's agenda and God's agenda are totally opposite. So that's why I have left anything or put actually any trust in the political game and actually put all my trust in what the Catholic Church stands.
Got it. Ruben, can I hold you for a minute? Brother, I'm sorry, we're out of time, but I want Jesse to have a dialogue with you because I know where Jesse's going. Go ahead, Jess, with Ruben. Let's talk.
You know, Ruben, I agree in part with what you're saying, but the fact is, as Catholics, the Church is very clear. This Pope Francis, is very clear. The last three popes have said Catholics have to take our gospel into the political sphere, into the secular society. In other words, we can't stay neutral on these issues. As Catholics, we have a point of view, and our point of view must always be morality and life and marriage. And you know what the goal of the devil is? The goal of the devil is to make us as Christians shut our mouth, to eliminate our point of view from the national discourse. The devil doesn't want us to vote. He wants to censor our biblical worldview from our culture. But you know what? We can't be silent. We preach the gospel boldly. We live the gospel. But we also, as Pope Francis says, get involved in politics. Get involved and make a mess. And what does he mean by that? We have to infuse the political process with the Catholic gospel. Yes, we may be outnumbered, but remember, we've got Jesus on our side. And with the Lord Jesus Christ, we are an unbeatable army.
And Ruben, thank you for your call. And I would take it to the Blessed Sacrament, praying for our country. We sure need to do that. We can have a combination of prayer and action. God bless you, folks. We're out of time. Don't forget to pick up those DVDs. After the Choice, 17 Women Shock the World. Our Dr. Bernard Nathanson, Aborting America. I'd love to give them to you. Call 877-526-2151. Don't forget to ask Jesus for more faith. We need it right now. The world acts like God doesn't exist. Let's change that. We'll be right back.